Hello Commanders, Commander Plater here, back with another Elite Dangerous video. Today, I'm doing something slightly different. I'm trying my hand at roleplay pirating. Now, I have not pirated before at all, but I figured that if anyone's going to have some success with regards to pirating, it's probably going to be someone in an A-rated Corvette with elite combat status. My intention with this is not to go around picking on smaller pilots just to be able to have some fun and destroy them. My intention is to get people to give me their cargo without firing a shot. Now, for me anyway, the intention is to get them to drop the cargo. I don't want it, I don't need it, it's fine. I just want to see whether or not they drop the cargo without me having to fire a shot. And then, I'm going to tell them that's what I'm doing, and I'll let them go about their way. So, the idea is I'm going to roleplay the hell out of it. So we're talking, YAR! Full on pirate, and I am probably going to be reasonably gruff. My intention is to try and contact people over the voice comms if possible, and enter in some negotiations and be full pirate. So let's go and see how this goes. I'm going to try and find myself some targets. Okay, so the voice comms thing didn't quite go according to plan, as I'm sure you'll be able to tell throughout the course of the video. But first up, this is my first target. Now, I thought I'd pick something fairly simple, and I was hoping for a reasonably quick, easy win on this one. I'm in a Corvette. Yeah, over there they are in a Type 6. I should really be able to get some cargo out of them. I am doing text chat to these people, doing the scans, letting them know, and I am asking them to actually stop and just give me their cargo. Now, as I said before, I do not want to shoot people, I don't want to destroy their ships, I don't want to set anyone back. All I want is them to drop their cargo, then I'm just going to let them know that's what I'm doing and fly away. But this person here, it was quite a frustrating experience. No responses whatsoever, which seems to be a pretty common theme throughout the course of this actual process. But yep, as you can see here, what's going on, he's just flying around, not really doing much. Some frustration does kick in, and you can tell he's going to be charging his frameshift drive, but obviously you might have mass locking him, so he's having some problems there. We give him a playful nudge, just to give him some encouragement. I do check to see what he's actually carrying, and he's carrying something, so I am right to stop him, but still, he completely ignores me. As you can see, this is going to go on for a while, so I'm just going to shut up and you guys can watch all of this transpire. Oh yeah, one thing before I do shut up, warning shots. I figured I'd give him a couple of warning shots, which with gimbaled weapons you can't really just do across the bow. I probably could have thought that one out a little bit better. But deploying hard points, in my mind, should have helped encourage him to know that I was serious as a pirate. Now, as you can see here, I do actually give this guy a countdown in an attempt to kind of encourage him to give up, and I thought counting down from 5 would give someone a really clear indication that I'm quite serious again. And the whole role-playing thing, I don't know if that takes an edge off the seriousness, and if I wanted to, this guy would have been dead maybe 5-6 times over already, but that wasn't the intention. So, he's low waked away. So I come across this guy again, and I'm not completely happy with the way that first interaction went. So I'm going to have another go and see what we can get out of him. And as you can see, the completely ignoring me continues. So we get to the kind of point where it's going to be time to maybe pop some stuff off. An odd thing does happen here though, is as you can see, another commander drops in out of nowhere, Commander Patrol. I have no idea who this person is, why they decided it'd be a good idea to kind of drop in and have a look to see what's going on here. But I do ask them if I can help them at all, and I don't actually get anything from them. Seems to be a common theme here, people seem not to enjoy talking at all in Elite Dangerous. They either do or they don't. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of middle ground here. Now, as you can see here, I've knocked his shields down just by bumping into him gently, and it's time to kind of really up the game because I'm feeling a bit frustrated at this point that someone is just completely ignoring me, and I can only assume this is a classic example of the bully in the playground, and if you ignore them, they go away. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way, especially if they've got big guns. Now, I do know I said that I would try and avoid shooting people completely, but this, as an experience goes, pretty frustrating, so I do at some point just pop off a single shot with the multi-cannons, and that's it, just as a, hey, I could kill you kind of warning. So at this point I do decide to let him know this is what I was trying to do, because he's inevitably going to pop back up, and I do let him know that had I been a genuine pirating player, he would have been blown to pieces. So that obviously didn't go very well, which I guess you can only really do what you can do in these situations, and as I said, this is just an experiment, and I'm not going to be totally annoyed and frustrated with this particular person for spoiling everything for me, because that's not what it's about at all. But then I decided it's time to move on to the next target, and we're going to keep looking around to see what we can find. Now, as I said, it's time to give this guy some information and let him know that he's going to be plastered all over YouTube as someone who just has no player interaction at all. That is possibly one of the symptoms that is wrong with the game, is that people don't interact with each other even when someone is going out of their way to try and make it a reasonably positive experience. Next target. Again, this is the case of I send him a quick message to let him know that he has been targeted and I am tracking him down and all that kind of stuff, and it's a bit of an effort to try and find a decent target to try and get hold of. Now, one of these people that I actually find can be a bit of an interesting one. So someone does just open fire on me for absolutely no reason, which is absolutely fantastic. All I'm doing is, say, popping off a scan, asking them for cargo and that type of thing. and everyone seems to run. That seems to be my preliminary findings anyway. Obviously this is a really small sample size, so I'm not saying this is empirical that people always run, but it does seem to be that people do. Next target, and we're going to have kind of pretty much the same occurrences as we have done before. Spoiler alert, that we get in there, we scan them, we find out what they've got, if they've got anything, and yeah, go from there. As you can see, this guy actually has no cargo, so I do decide that I'm going to wish them best on their way, and just say that they can go about their business and all that kind of stuff. And a little bit of a response would have been nice at this point, because I've actually been a decent pirate, decent in the moral sense as opposed to decent as in, yeah, you're a good pirate, man, that type of thing. Okay, so eventually this guy submits and we get hold of him. As you can see, he's got no shields, and that's due to him actually bouncing off of mine as we came out of Super Cruise. Now, I do say that I want his cargo, I do the usual kind of spiel, and get ready for the scan. But this is where things go a little bit weird, at least in my opinion anyway. Out of nowhere, this guy does decide to fly exceptionally close to me. I would definitely say that's putting himself at risk. And also, he started shooting at me, which to me is totally bizarre. Would any harmless pilot in a Cobra decide to start shooting at a Corvette? If you would, and you have full confidence in your ability to defeat me, then cool, let's go for it, mention it in the comments. But I don't think many people would do this. So I do question it, and I don't fire back at this guy. You know, I fly towards him, that's fine. We do kind of essentially a bit of jousting, I guess you'd say. And then the weirdness continues. That's right, he rammed me. So now I have a 6,000 credit bounty on my head. Fantastic. So we do have another target, and this one actually seems to go according to plan. So I do say a massive shout out to this commander. He deserves it. He is doing elite right. It's surprising the number of people out there that don't, but certainly this guy, you're almost my hero. So after the interdiction, I send him the usual comms saying that I would like his cargo. He does tell me that he doesn't have any, so I do scan him just to be on the safe side, like any good pirate should. See it, no cargo. So I do wish him well on his way, and that's when this weird thing happens where this NPC vulture drops out of nowhere and decides to start attacking me, and they actually happen to be wanted, which is fantastic. Now, this is where things get a bit odd, at least for me anyway. So I decide that I'm going to open fire on this guy, on this vulture, because he's wanted, and he shot me first. And extra credits is extra credits on the bounty, even if I don't need them. Now what ends up happening is the other commander, who I'm in, I guess, this drop-down zone with, also starts attacking them, which is good fun. You know, I would consider this to be quite a positive player interaction and experience with a complete stranger. So we finish this guy off, and I get no bounty for him, which means that guy does. So whoever you are out there, if you happen to watch this and you see your name on it, drop me a comment and let me know. But yeah, so eventually system security turn up and it's time to bug out, because I don't need that kind of heat on me, because I'm the kind of person that likes to stay around and fight people, and I definitely shouldn't do that. Okay, so the final target we come across here is actually a unmanned ship, and it's just one of those ones where, you know, when people land on surfaces and they send their ships away, this is where they go. But okay guys, I want to thank you for watching. I'm Commander Plater, this has been my piracy experiment. Do leave your comments, have a chat about it in the bottom, your experience with piracy, all that kind of stuff, and make sure, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Commander Plater out.